Before we get straight into the podcast, I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, D Kirby GAA Star. Declan Kirby GAA Star Championship Journey. It's a series of GAA team children's books written by primary school teacher and GAA coach Michael Egan. You can check it out in the link in the description down below, of course, as well. Follow the trials and tribulations of Declan Kirby and his team at Smith Green Gaelic Football Club, recently formed but promising GAA team. The book is now available in Eason's and all good bookshops, so check it out in the description down below, and let's get straight into it. I suppose a team that will be taking Laois's place or Westmead's place is Offaly in Division 2A. They beat down 525 to 119. Like, looking at Offaly, like 4 wins from 4. They've scored 12 goals and 103 points in their 4 games. A score difference of plus 67. It's looking like Offaly are back on the rise at the moment. It's early days yet, but it's looking good for Offaly at the moment.
It's absolutely looking superb for Offaly. Like, they have a good few scores around the team now. Like, Owen Cahill stepping up this year in fairness to the league. He scored 111 the last day. Brian Dyton, I think he's related to Michael. He scored a goal as well, youngster. Liam Langton scored 2 goals yesterday. So they are doing absolutely brilliant scoring goals all over the field, corner forward, wing forward. Like Brian Dyton was wing forward. So yeah, Offaly, they're on the way back, and it's great to see because we need, a historic team like Offaly challenging for the Liam McCarthy Cup sooner rather than later. Like, we've seen it with Antrim, a historic side. They've done well over the last few games, and I think Offaly will do well in Division 1 likewise. I think it might be time for either Westmeath or Laois, whoever does win that relegation playoff, to go down. Like, I think Offaly are better sides than them. So it actually will be very interesting to see how Offaly develop in Division 1. They've trashed nearly everybody. Like, against Kerry, we see glimpses of Kerry in the Joe McDonagh Cup, of course, and Offaly swatted them aside with ease. Like, it is a side that Offaly Hurling is coming back into the fray, but then again, we'll never know once they play like of Kilkenny, Wexford, Cork, Galway, Limerick. We'll never know in many ways. So it will be tough for Offaly in Division 1. I wish them best of luck, but it will be tougher tests to come. And it is bright signs given the scores yesterday. Shane Lowry now sponsoring the Offaly GAC over there. And Michael Fenley doing an absolutely outstanding job, a bit like Eddie Brennan with Laois, bringing that expertise from all Ireland campaigns gone by. So things are looking up for Offaly. The sky's the limit, and hopefully they will be back in the Liam McCarthy. It will be a long road now. They'll be in the Christy Ring Cup this year. They should win that, in all honesty, given the form in the league. So, and then they'll go to Joe McDonagh Cup. I think that'll be an aim to win that as well. So it'll be a long project over the next few years, but it seems to be, looking at the results, looking at the points difference, look at the young players they're betting in, and look at the manager, of course, and Mick Fenley. Offaly seem to be on the way back, and it's absolutely brilliant for the county because, as well as the footballers doing so well, the county definitely needs a lift over the last few traumatic years they've had.
Yeah, and I suppose with Owen Cahill and Liam Langton, like, they've been 2 of the top performers, and like, they seem like a team that could even be competitive in Division 1 next year. Like, obviously we're seeing with the likes of Westmeath and Laois, I suppose, getting, beaten quite comfortably every weekend. But we've seen Antrim go up there and be very competitive. So I suppose for Offaly, like, going up to division, whether it's 1A or 1B, depending on what way they do it next year, I suppose they'll be competitive enough in there. Like, they'll definitely give teams a good challenge, and with some of the players that they have, I suppose it is the unknown in some ways as well. We don't know how they do against your Kilkennys or your Clares, for example, but with some of the players that they have, like, the potential is definitely there to be competitive. I suppose a bit like what Antrim have done obviously this year.
Yeah, absolutely. The potential is definitely there, and they do have young players coming up. Like, if I'm not mistaken, they actually did well against Dublin in under 20 or minor over the last few years. They did well against the likes of Kilkenny and Wexford. So the potential is there. Like, Offaly is a hurling county. I know they've done well over the last few years in football, but they've probably been more of a historic hurling county, and they need to be back up at the Liam McCarthy. Like, I can even remember in 2013, they were competitive against Kilkenny. They scored 4 goals that day, like the likes of Joe Berg, Shane Dooley, who's still in and around the panel. That'll be absolutely huge, having his experience in getting them up back to where they belong in the Liam McCarthy Cup or Division 1 hurling. So it's great to have experienced players. Their centre back, I forget his name now. He's Ben Keneally, I think is his name. He's a very experienced player. You have Shea Dooley, experienced. So it's very key to have them experienced players around the dressing room. And you see with Antrim, obviously with Neil McManus, a few of those lads, to have that experience around the dressing room to drive on these young lads from overachieving in many ways, underage sides, it can be dividends to you in the long run. So best of luck to Offaly, as I said, and their younger players will learn a lot from the likes of Dooley and Keneally over the next few years, and of course from Mick Fenley, who's an absolutely outstanding manager, proves to be so far.
Yeah, and it's kind of mad in many ways as well that they're a Christy Ring Cup team, because I think if you had them in the Joe McDonagh Cup, I suppose a lot of people would have had them as probably the favourites, and there's probably teams like Kerry and Westmeath who are looking at their Joe McDonagh Cup campaign and saying, it's a good thing that Offaly aren't here because it gives them a bigger chance of promotion. So I suppose, though, at the same time, you can't forget, like, Offaly are a Christy Ring Cup team for a reason. It's not like they've just been relegated there. They were there last year. There was two teams that got promoted from the Joe McDonagh Cup. One of them was down that Offaly beat quite convincingly, and the other one was Kildare, who we'll touch on in a moment. They're obviously playing in a division below. So I suppose it is mad that they're in the Christy Ring Cup, but I suppose there is still a bit of reality check needed for Offaly in some ways, because there's still a long way to go to get back to those levels, like you said, in 2013 and years gone by.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those experienced players that I mentioned will help them along in doing that, in achieving that aim. And as you said, it's very interesting, the Joe McDonagh Cup. Like, I think someone mentioned in my story on Instagram, Kerry are favourites for the Joe McDonagh Cup. And honestly, I can't see why not. Like, Westmeath getting so many beatings in Division 1A, that might pay, it'd be bad for their confidence. I think Carlo have been underperforming. I know there's been some good, underage developments of Carlo, and I had Marty Cavan on the podcast over the last 2 weeks, and they seem to be going in the right direction with Tom Mullally coming in as manager, but it doesn't seem to be. They lost to Down over the last few weeks. They've been struggling in the league, so probably the Joe McDonagh Cup. I think Kerry and Westmeath would be lucky at that opportunity, and even Kildare as well. I think they aren't the Joe McDonagh Cup. I think, like, some sides haven't been promoted, so I don't know. Are they the Joe McDonagh Cup this year, Kildare?
I think they are, yeah, because they beat Down, I think, in the Christy Ring Cup final last year. So I'm pretty sure Kildare and Down are both promoted.
Jeez. Didn't you learn something every day, as you say? But
well, I hope so. Anyway, like, don't quote me on it, but from when I checked, anyways, that was what it was. But I could be wrong. But I do think they are both in the Joe McDonagh Cup.
I hope you're right. Anyway, like, obviously, I had Patrick Sharkey from GAA on the podcast and talking about GAA Hurling. I thought they'd be in the, I think it was Christy Riggers or some other competition.
Yeah, I think with some of the lower level teams, for some reason, they didn't do promotion and relegation for like, I think from like the relegation to the Christy Ring, and maybe promotion from like Nicky Rackard. And I think because a lot of teams couldn't compete and a lot of teams had to pull out or something like that. But yeah, it is a bit confusing. I'm not too sure really why they're doing that as well, because like Donegal really should be in the Christy Ring Cup this year, and they've kind of been robbed from it, I suppose.